Hey, welcome back to the Kismet overview tutorial. This is going to be the second part, and I'm going to be showing you how to make this game. Open it up real quick, and you can download these two scenes, and there's a link under the video. It's called download. So this is what you're going to get when you finish. You get some rocket launchers and a trigger. It's going to spawn a bunch of bots, and they're going to shoot at you. And the goal of the game is to get to the end of the hallway without dying. And once you do get to the end, if you do, because it's really hard, you win the game. But if you get killed, then all the bots in the scene, they'll die, and you have to start the game over. Okay, so let me switch back to the scene. You're going to want to open this, and we're going to be walking through to get to the finished. So go ahead and open Unreal Kismet. And the first thing we're going to do is going to create some sequences for organizing our scene. So to do that, you got to right click and create new sequence. We're going to name ours spawn. This is going to take care of the trigger that's right here. When you walk into it, it's going to spawn all of the bots accordingly to the notes. And our second sequence is going to be win. Win. And what win does, it takes care of the trigger that's way down there. And that's going to kill all of the bots in the scene, and you win the game. So it's going to spawn. So go ahead and select this trigger. And now that we have that selected, we can access that trigger in Kismet. So you can right click and new event using trigger 1. And you can see down here that's trigger 1 that we have selected. And we're going to do touch. So when we touch this trigger, when we're inside this box looking thing, we're going to do new action, actor, actor factory. And we're going to drag from touched to spawn actor. So now that we have the actor factory, let's go ahead and link these notes into the actor factory using the spawn point. So we can make this a little smaller. I'm going to go to the top down view and select this first one. And then in the properties of the actor factory, in the spawn points, click add new item 5 times, because there's 5 on each wall. So the first spawn point, all you have to do is click this green arrow, and that will, it says it's going to take it from the content browser, but it can do with the scene as well. So as long as you have it selected and you press this green arrow, it will be in the label. What it really does is takes the name of it, so now that we have all those on the right side, let's do the same thing for the other side. So right click, new action, actor, actor factory. Touched goes into here. And let's do this side. So spawn points, click it 5 times. and just keep on adding them in. And there we go. Now that we know where we want to spawn our bot, we need to know what kind of bot we're going to spawn. So click this create new object arrow and click on Actor Factory AI. We're going to make the controller class a UT bot and the pawn class a UT pawn. We're going to give the default inventory, which is just the link gun, and we're going to add a rocket launcher to their inventory. So all of our bots are going to have a rocket launcher and the default link gun. We're going to name our pawn bot, and let's do the same over here. So click this arrow, Actor Factory AI, give the default inventory, UT bot, UT pawn, and we'll call it bot. We're also going to want to change the spawn count. We're going to want it to be 5. 5 for the right side and 5 for the left side. So over here, go to 5. Okay. And let's see how that works. Press the trigger. There they are. They all spawn. Now we're going to make them so they attack our player. So what we do, since we're spawning like 10 of our bots, we're going to have to put them into an object list. So this little triangle represents an output. So if you right click and new variable object, oh, keep on missing it. There we go. This is just going to be a blank object. This can be anything. This is going to equal whatever we spawn. So each time we spawn, a new object will go into this, and it will be replaced each time. Let's do the same thing down here. Variable object. Spawn goes in there. So now that we have our actor spawned and we have access to him in Unreal Kismet, we're going to right click and we're going to do new action object list, modifier object list. But wait, we don't have an object list yet. Well, let's go ahead and create one. So right click, new variable, object list. And what an object list is it's just an array of a bunch of objects. It's just a collection of objects in your scene. And what's going to happen is each time we spawn a bot, we're going to go add to list, and we're going to add this bot that we spawn to this list. And now we have all the bots added to the list. What we're going to do is new action actor, or actually we're going to do new action AI start firing at, and we're going to connect the out to the in, so when each time the bot's created, we're going to modify the list and they're going to start firing at our player. So the fire at is going to be our player. So right click, new variable, player, and I messed it up. New player, there we go. Drag and drop, select our all players variable and uncheck that all players. And the target is going to be which bot we want to start firing at the player. And this is going to be all the bots in the list. So let's do the same thing over here. So let's copy and paste all this. So Control Alt and drag, Control C, and then Control V. I'm gonna put this into place. Connect this. We're gonna get rid of that. What's going on here? There we go. So we got rid of that, and we're going to connect it to this one. And we actually want these lists to be two different entities, so we're going to name this one AI List 1. That stands for Artificial Intelligence List. AI List 2 for the second one. So let's see how that turned out. Automatically, when they're spawned, they are attacking me. It looks like the whole right side didn't have rocket launchers, so I'm gonna go see what went wrong over there. Add new item. We want all of them to have rocket launchers. Okay, so now that they're firing at me, this is good. But what happens when they kill me? Which does happen in this game. This is a very hard game. I can barely complete it. They stop firing once I'm dead. When I respawn, they're not firing at me anymore. And when I go into the trigger, they don't know I'm here. So to counteract that, we're going to create a new variable. It's going to be a Boolean variable, and this is going to be like a true or false variable. We're going to call it spawned. So this is going to let Kismet know if our bots have been spawned or not. We're going to control drag that over here, and what we're going to do is when we first touch, we're going to check if our bots have been spawned yet. So to do that, we'll unclick those. Oh, if you didn't know how to do that, it's you hold Alt down and you click. Okay, so right click, new condition, and we're gonna compare. So it's right click, new condition, comparison, comparable. We're gonna compare whether our spawned Boolean variable is true or false. So if it's true, it's going to go out here. If it's false, it's going to go out here. So this is our Boolean variable. When we first start the scene, it's going to be false. So we're going to want to create some actors. Once that has been created, once our actors have been spawned, we can do new action, set variable bool, and we're going to want to link the target to this bool, and we're going to make the value a true boolean. So right click, new variable bool, and we're going to set this to 1. So in the boolean properties, make that 1, which is true. Drag and drop that, and drag and drop from out to in. So after it's been spawned, it's going to make this boolean over here true, and when we hit the trigger again, it's not going to create any more actors. But that doesn't solve our problem. When we're dead, our bots stop firing, and when we first spawn again, they don't know where we are. So what we're going to do is actually kill all of our bots when we first spawn and create a new set of bots each time we hit that trigger. So every time you die, you basically lose the game and have to start it over. And I was looking down here, it kind of looks like I created a spawn sequence down here, and that really doesn't do anything, so I'm going to delete that. We only want spawn and win. Okay, so back into here. We're going to create a new event, and it's going to be player spawned. So this is going to be called each time our player is spawned. When our player is spawned, what we want to do is we're going to set the variable, so new action, set variable bool. We're going to set our spawned for our bots false. So right click, new variable, boolean. We're going to make it false, and it's false by default. So when we spawn, we're going to make our spawned for the bots false. That way we can hit the trigger again. And we're going to kill all of our bots in the scene. So let's go and select both of those. Control C, and then go over here and Control V. And it may look like they're two different things, but they're the same thing. And what we're going to do with these is we're going to new action, actor, modify health. Drag this out for better view. And we're going to link it to this one as well. So not only is the spawn going to be false, we're going to kill all of our bots so we can spawn them again. So the target is these two. The amount we're going to kill them is 200, just to be safe. And the damage type is going to be crushed. So it's going to be a negative modification to the health. Okay, so let's see how that all works. You hit the trigger, spawned equals false by default. Okay, I'm dead, and they're stopped firing. When I spawn again, they should all die. But what happened? They're not dead yet. Well, player spawned is called more than once. We spawn when we first start the game and when we die and come back again. Spawned also works like a touch, and we're gonna have to change the touch max trigger count and the spawned max trigger count. So go to trigger touched and make the max trigger count 0, which basically is unlimited. So we can trigger this trigger as many times as we want. But fortunately for us, it's controlled with a Boolean variable. Same goes with the player spawned. Make it 0. And let's go back in. Okay, they killed me. And they're all still here. So what happened? Well, our object lists actually need to be referenced in a different way. So go ahead and delete both of these object lists and Notice that both of the object lists are created through the modify object list function, but we need the object lists to be out here with the other sequences. So grab both of those, control click both of them, and control X to cut them, and then paste them out here with control V. So we know their names are AI list 1 and AI list 2. To reference it, all you need to do is right click new variable, named variable, and name it after our variable name. So AI list 1, you can see it has a check mark now, and then new variable, named variable, AI list 2. And now we can control C both of those over to here. And now we have reference to both of those. Now let's see how that works. So now they don't recognize this. Well, that's because we were control copying and pasting. And what we need to do is recreate these object lists. So delete those, right click variable, make a new object list. I click sequence, new variable, object list. Name it AI list 1, just how you named the named variable. And for the second one, same thing, AI list 2. And that will make it so it correctly references. I'm going to go ahead and recreate these two. Delete that. Right click new variable, named variable, AI list 1. Let's see if this left side works. And they're not recognizing it. Oh, what happened was I didn't make the start firing at target the list. There we go. So recreate that, AI list 2. Okay, looks like they're doing okay now. Okay, now you can see they're attacking me just fine. And when you start, they were all supposed to die. Let's go over here. Let's create those named variables. AI list 1. Drag it into the target. Another named variable, AI list 2. Now when I respawn, they should all die. Let's see how it works. Okay, there they go. They're all dead now. Now we can see how our boolean works. So if we hit this trigger again, we know it'll work because we put the max trigger count to 0. And you can just ignore those errors for now. Or they're just warnings rather. But you can say they all spawned again. So essentially the game is restarting every time you die. And let's try to make it to the end of this thing. Alright. So when I hit this trigger back here, we're going to want to kill all the remaining bots. But we haven't set up that sequence yet. So what we have to do is go back up here and go into the win sequence and go all the way down and select this trigger over here. Then right click, new event using that trigger. When we touch that trigger, we're going to want to modify our health of the two object lists. So we're going to do new variable, named variable, AI list 1, and AI list 2. When the trigger happens, it goes into there. We're going to modify it 200 crushed, so they're going to die. And I think that's it. So let's see. Alright, so when I hit this trigger back here, the remaining bots, which is these two, will die and we win. Okay, so if you had trouble with any parts of the tutorial, I'm going to save this out as scene finished. And if you have any trouble, just look at that and you'll know what you did and how I did it. Alright, well thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.